Hello everyone, I am Subhalakshmi. Welcome all of you to this channel. In this video, I am going to discuss about 20 multiple choice question on the topic of structure, reproduction and life cycle of Nostoc, Vaucheria and Batrachospermum. Before we get into the discussion, let's start from a beautiful message. Compassion generates love, kindness and support without boundaries. So, compassion is the bridge that connects heart, dissolving the selfishness and builds strong relationship with others by love and kindness. Okay, see the first question. Which is the common name of Nostoc? Option A, waterfeld. Option B, mox grass. Option C, star jelly. Option D, sand grass. Here the correct answer is option C, that is star jelly. We know Nostoc is a genus of blue-green algae, that is a cyanobacteria, which is commonly called star jelly or star slime, which forms gelatinous colonies. When on the ground, it is ordinarily not seen, but after rainfall, it swells up into a conspicuous jelly-like mass, which is sometimes called the star jelly. Okay. Then see the other option, that is waterfeld is the common name of Vaucheria. Then mox grass and sand grass are the common name of algae cara. But here star jelly is the common name of the Nostoc. Next question, which characters of Vaucheria is not present in other members of Chlorophyceae? Option A, oil as reserve food material. Option B, filamentous structure of thallus. Option C, asexual reproduction by zoospores. Option D, oogamous type of sexual reproduction. We know Vaucheria is a genus of yellow-green algae, but at first Vaucheria was placed in the algal class Chlorophyceae, but later its future point to a more nearer approach to the yellow-green algae, that is Xanthophyceae. So the algologist Smith transferred it to the class Xanthophyceae. Some important characters of this genus are absence of chlorophyll B and presence of chlorophyll E. We know in green algae, chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B both pigment are present. But in Vaucheria, instead of chlorophyll B, chlorophyll E is present, and the pigment chlorophyll E is the characteristic of the class Xanthophyceae. Then absence of pyrenoids. We know pyrenoids are seen in maximum members of green algae, but in Vaucheria pyrenoids are absent. Then another important thing, oil and fat rather than starch as the principal food reserve in Vaucheria. So here option A is the correct answer. Why? Because filamentous structure of thallus, asexual reproduction by zoospores and oogamous type of sexual reproduction, all these things are seen in Chlorophycean members, but oil is not the reserve food material in Chlorophyceae. Then next question, what is the order of the algae Batrachospermum? Option A, siphonales. Option B, conjugales. Option C, ceramiales. Option D, nemalionales. We know Batrachospermum is a genus of freshwater red algae which belongs to the class Rhodophyceae, subclass Floridae, order Nemalionales, family Batrachospermaceae and the genus Batrachospermum. So here the correct answer is option D, that is Nemalionales. That is the order of the algae Batrachospermum. Okay. Then question number 4. In Nostoc, the trichome breaks into small segment due to the degeneration of intercalary cells. These multicellular fragments are called option A, actinids, option B, hormogonia, option C, heterocyst, option D, hypnospore. Here the correct answer is option B, that is hormogonia. We know hormogonia are short and free filaments. They are formed when a filament breaks. It retains the gelatinous sheath Then new trichomes are developed from these short filament. Okay. Then see the other option. In the option A, that is actinids. Asexual reproduction is by the formation of resting spores known as actinids. Some of the cell become thick-walled due to accumulation of food. They can withstand unfavorable conditions for many years, and under favorable condition they germinate to form a new filament. Then in the option C, that is heterocyst. It is a specialized cell in some cyanobacteria, carries out nitrogen fixation. Okay. Then in the option D, that is hypnospore. Hypnospores are thick walled resting spores in algae. Okay. But here the correct answer is option B, that is Hormogonia. Then next question, who removed Vaucheria from Chlorophyceae and placed it in the class Xanthophyceae? Option A Fritsch, option B Harvey, option C Tipo, option D Smith. Here the correct answer is option D, that is Smith. The taxonomic position of Vaucheria has been a matter of controversy for many years. It was discovered by Vaucher in 1803 and it was named as Ectosperma by him. Later, D. Candoli changed the name to Vaucheria. At first, Vaucheria was placed in the algal class Chlorophyceae, but later its future point to a more nearer approach to the yellow-green algae, that is Xanthophyceae. So the algologist Smith transferred it to the class Xanthophyceae. Okay, so here the correct answer is option D. Then question number 6, false statement about Batrachospermum. Option A, it is heterotrichous. Yes, it is a correct statement. Batrachospermum has a heterotrichous life history. It means it has a phase in its life cycle where it has multiple branches that grow in different direction. Okay. Then in the option B, that is it is marine red algae. No, it is incorrect statement. We know Batrachospermum is a type of freshwater red algae that lives in cool shaded areas of freshwater, and it is commonly known as frog spawn. Okay. Then in the option C, life cycle type is haplobiontic. Yes, it is a correct statement. Then what is haplobiontic type of life cycle? Generally, in this type, the gametophytic phase is elaborate, dominant and persists for long time than the sporophytic phase, which is represented only by the zygote. That is haplobiontic type, and two successive haploid generations are interrupted only by the diploid zygotic stage, indicate its triphasic nature. Okay. Then in the option D, monospores are found on the Cantrantia stage. Yes, it is also a correct statement. We know monospores are non-flagellate and uninucleate spores in Batrachospermum developed single within the monosporangia, which are again developed on the erect portion of the heterotrichous filament called Cantrantia stage, that is produced during the post-fertilization stage of the sexual reproduction in Batrachospermum. Okay, but here option B is a false statement. Okay. Then question number 7, which species of Nostoc is found in the coralloid roots of the cycas? Option A, Nostoc sparicum, option B, Nostoc commune, option C, Nostoc punctiforme, option D, Nostoc colema. Here the correct answer is option C, that is Nostoc punctiforme. We know cycas is a gymnospermic plant in which coralloid roots are seen in this plant. Then what is coralloid root? Coralloid roots are negatively geotrophic called apogeotrophic roots. The middle cortex of coralloid roots contain nitrogen fixing species of cyanobacteria, particularly Nostoc and Anabena also. In this root play an important role in supplying the nitrogen to the plant. So particularly the species Nostoc punctiforme found in the coralloid roots of the cycas. Okay. Next question. Name the structure which is formed at the site of wanderplasm in Vaucheria thallus. Option A oogonium, option B gangrosira stage, option C acinids, option D cantrantia stage. We know in Vaucheria the oogonium initiate as a small outgrowth at the base of the antheridium, which is formed due to the accumulation of cytoplasm and large number of nuclei. This dense multinucleate mass of cytoplasm is called wanderplasm, right? It gradually increases in size and forms an ovoid or rounded oogonium which is separated from the subtending filament by a septum. Okay, so here the correct answer is option A. Then see the other option, that is gangrosira stage. It is a stage in the life cycle of the algae Vaucheria. We know acinids are formed on the terminal part of the lateral branches. Then the acinids by successive divisions may form numerous thin-walled bodies. When many acinids remain attached to the parent thallus, the thallus gives the appearance of another alga, that is gangrosira. So this condition is called gangrosira stage, which is commonly seen in the algae Vaucheria. Then in the option C, that is acinids. Acinids are thick-walled resting spores. Then in the option D, that is cantrantia stage. We know in Batrachospermum, the asexual reproduction is brought about by means of non-flagellate uninucleate spores known as monospores. Monospores are developed within the monosporangium, which are again developed on the erect portion of the heterotrichous filament called cantrantia stage, that is produced during the post-fertilization stage of the sexual reproduction of the Batrachospermum. So, the cantrantia stage is the juvenile stage of the red algae Batrachospermum, which resembles the other algae cantrantia. Okay, but here the option A is the correct answer. The structure, that is the oogonium, formed at the site of wanderplasm in Vaucheria thallus. Then question number 9. Spermacia in Batrachospermum is option A uniflagellate, option B apically biflagellate, option C laterally biflagellate, option D aflagellate and non-motile. Here the correct answer is option D, that is aflagellate and non-motile. We know in Batrachospermum, spermatangia, the male reproductive organs are unicellular, uninucleate, spherical or globose and colorless structure. Each spermatangium bears a single spermacium, right? Spermacium is a single non-motile colorless spherical shape with large nucleus and it lacks flagella. For this reason, it is called a spermacium and not a sperm. Okay. So in Batrachospermum, spermacium is aflagellate and non-motile. So here option D is the correct answer. Then next question, which of the angiosperm contains nostoc as an endophyte? Option A Indigofera tinoctoria, option B Gunera manicata, option C Melia indica, option D Arachis hypogaea. Here the correct answer is option B, that is Gunera manicata. Gunera manicata, it is a species of flowering plant in the family Guneraceae. The nostoc lives inside the Gunera plant's specialized stem glands, so it is act as endophyte and provides nitrogen to the host through nitrogen fixation. This is a unique symbiotic relationship between a flowering plant and a cyanobacterium. So here the correct answer is option B. Then next question, which is or are heterothallic species of Vaucheria? Option A Vaucheria sessiles, option B Vaucheria aversa, option C Vaucheria litoria, option D all. Remember, majority of the freshwater species of Vaucheria are monoecious or homothallic, while some species like Vaucheria dichotoma, Vaucheria litoria and Vaucheria mayanadensis are dioecious or heterothallic. Okay. So here option C is the correct answer. Then next question, dwarf branches of Batrachospermum form a thick clusters of branches at node called option A gonymoblast, option B carpogonium, option C cystocarp, option D glomerule. Here the correct answer is option D, that is glomerule. When you see the thallus structure of the Batrachospermum, the thallus of Batrachospermum is uniaxial and the main or primary axis is made of a uniseriate row of large cylindrical cells. The axis is differentiated into nodes and internodes and grows by a dome-shaped apical cell. From the nodes, the main axis, two types of lateral branches develop, that is branches of limited growth and branches of unlimited growth. Okay. The branches of limited growth arise in holes just below the septa of the axial filament or from the branches of unlimited growth. The whole of branches of limited growth present at a node is known as glomerule. Okay. So, all branches in a glomerule are of nearly the same length and they are made up of small moniliform cell which give beaded appearance to the thallus. So here option D is the correct one. Then see the other option, that is gonymoblast. In Batrachospermum, gonymoblast refers to a clusters of specialized cells that developed after fertilization of the female gamete and are responsible for producing the carpospores, essentially acting as the reproductive structure within the life cycle. The gonymoblast initials arise directly from the fertilized carpogonium. These cells divide rapidly to form the gonymoblast filaments and the terminal cell of these filaments become the carposporangia, which are responsible for production of carpospores. Okay. Then see the second option, that is carpogonium. It is the female reproductive organ. It is a flag-shaped structure differentiated into a basal swollen egg cell and a long narrow neck called trichogyne. Okay. Then in the option C, that is cystocarp. The lower sterile cells of the gonymoblast filaments give rise to many sterile filaments which form an envelope around the carpospores and gonymoblast filaments. This composite structure, that is the carpospores and the gonymoblast filaments along with sterile filaments, is known as cystocarp. Okay. But here the correct answer is option D, that is the dwarf branches of Batrachospermum form a thick clusters of branches at node called the glomerule. Okay. Then next question, Nostoc reproduces. Option A vegetatively, option B sexually, option C both, option D by zoospore. We know Nostoc is a blue-green algae, reproduces only vegetatively, and here sexual reproduction is completely absent. So here option A is the correct answer. Then next question, asexual reproduction in Vaucheria takes place by zoospores which are option A uniflagellate, option B quadriflagellate, option C biflagellate, option D multiflagellate. Here the correct answer is option D, that is multiflagellate. Asexual reproduction in aquatic species of Vaucheria usually takes place by means of multiflagellate and multinucleate zoospores. They are produced in a globe-shaped sporangia which are formed at the tip of the filament, and the central vacuole gradually decreases in size. Consequently, the tip becomes globe-shaped and dark green in color. It is cut off from the rest of the filament by a transverse septum. So, this multinucleate and multiflagellate sporangial mass behaves as a zoospore. which is called synzoospore. Okay, so here option D is the correct answer. That is, the asexual reproduction in Vaucheria takes place by zoospores, which are multiflagellate and multinucleate also. Next question, which is not true about the Cantrantia stage of Batrachospermum? Option A, it is juvenile stage. Yes, it is a true statement. We know in Batrachospermum, Cantrantia stage produced during the post-fertilization stage of the sexual reproduction. So, the Cantrantia stage is the juvenile stage of the red algae Batrachospermum, which resembles the algal Cantrantia. So, it is called the Cantrantia stage. Okay. Then in the option B, develops before fertilization. No, it is a false statement. We know Cantrantia stage is developed after fertilization. Okay, so option B is not a true statement. Okay, then in the option C, that is heterotrichous nature, it is also a correct statement. Generally during the germination of the carpospores, it get attached themselves to the substratum, and on germination each carpospore forms a protonema like structure which eventually gives rise to a heterotrichous system. This represents the juvenile stage of Batrachospermum known as Cantrantia stage. Okay. Then in the option D, that is, it bears monosporangia. Yes, it is also a true statement. We know the Cantrantia stage reproduces itself by the formation of haploid, uninucleate, non-motile monospores, and monospores are developed within the monosporangia. Okay. So here option B is the correct answer. Then next question, incorrect statement about Nostoc. Option A, some species are the components of lichen and occur in symbiotic association with fungi. It is a correct statement. Then in the option B, Nostoc reproduces only vegetatively. It is also a correct statement. Then in the option C, the presence of heterocysts which are terminal and occasionally intercalary. No, it is a incorrect statement. Why? Because the presence of heterocyst in Nostoc is generally intercalary and occasionally terminal. Okay? Intercalary heterocyst means it present between the vegetative cell in Nostoc. Okay? So option C is the incorrect statement. Then in the option D, Nostoc trichome has a typical moniliform appearance. Yes, it is a correct statement. It means it looks like a string of beads with individual cells appearing rounded and constricted between each other, giving a pierce-like appearance to the filamentous structure. Okay. So here option C is the incorrect statement. Then next question, in Vaucheria, the most common method of asexual reproduction is through multiflagellate and multinucleate structure known as option A, Syncytium, option B, Cynocytic, option C, Syncytium, option D, Synzoospore. Here the correct answer is option D, that is Synzoospore. We know in Vaucheria, asexual reproduction in aquatic species usually takes place by means of multiflagellate and multinucleate zoospore. They are produced in a club-shaped sporangia which are formed at the tip of the filament, and the central vacuole gradually decreases in size. Consequently, the tip becomes club-shaped and dark green in color. It is cut off from rest of the filament by a transverse septum. So, this multinucleate and multiflagellate sporangial mass behaves as a zoospore. Some algologists consider that they are compound structures in which protoplast fails to break into uninucleate segment. They prefer to call such multinucleate and multiflagellate zoospores as synzoospore. Okay, so here option D is the correct answer. Then see the other option, that is Syncytium. Syncytium is a genus of fungi caused potato rot disease. Okay. Then in the option B, that is Cynocytic. Cynocytic means having multiple nuclei in a continuous mass of protoplasm. Then in the option C, that is syncytium. Synocytic and syncytium both term are used for multinucleate cells. Okay. Then next question, the adult plant of Batrachospermum is formed as a lateral shoot of the Cantrantia stage. Option B, by the germination of monospores. Option C, as a lateral shoot of the carposporophyte. Option D, by the germination of carpospores. Here the correct answer is option A, that is the adult plant of Batrachospermum is formed as a lateral shoot of the Cantrantia stage. We know monospores are formed in the Cantrantia stage and on germination again give rise to the Cantrantia stage. The erect branches of this heterotrichous juvenile stage give rise to the adult Batrachospermum plant. Okay, so here option A is the correct one. Then next question, which is a wrong statement about Vaucheria? Option A, zoospores are multiflagellate. We know zoospores are multiflagellate and multinucleate in Vaucheria. So option A is the correct statement. Then in the option B, they do not contain spirinoids. Yes, it is also a correct statement. Pyrenoids generally absent in Vaucheria. Then in the option C, actinids formation related to Gangrosira stage. It is also a correct statement. We know in some terrestrial and aquatic species during unfavorable condition, the contents of their filaments divide into small segments by thick gelatinous walls. These thick-walled multinucleate segments are called actinids. Sometimes the protoplast of the actinids may divide into many uninucleate amoeboid segments. At this stage, Vaucheria thallus resembles to that of the another genus of the algae, that is Gangrosira, and therefore this stage is called as the Gangrosira stage. Then in the option D, that is sperms are multiflagellate structure. No, the antherozoid or sperm in Vaucheria is spindle shaped biflagellate structure, not multiflagellate structure. So option D is a wrong statement. Okay. Then last question, incorrect statement about Batrachospermum. Option A, the branching in Batrachospermum is monopodial. It is a correct statement. Monopodial means growing upward with a single main axis. Okay. Then in the option B, the terminal cell of gonymoblast filament in Batrachospermum functions as carposporangium. It is also a correct statement. Then in the option C, the adult plant of Batrachospermum is diploid. No, it is a incorrect statement. We know the adult plant of the Batrachospermum is haploid and dominant, persist for long time than the diploid phase, which is represented only by the zygote. Okay, so the life cycle is haplobiontic type, and the two successive haploid generation are interrupted by diploid zygotic stage, indicate its triphasic nature, right? But the adult plant is haploid, not diploid, right? Then in the option D, Cantrantia stage is produced as a result of germination of carpospores. We just discussed about that. During the germination of carpospores, it get attached themselves to the substratum, and on germination, each carpospores forms a protonema-like structure which eventually give rise to a heterotrichous system. This represents the juvenile stage of Batrachospermum known as Cantrantia stage, right? But here option C is the incorrect statement. Okay. So in this video, I cover all the 20 multiple choice question with their proper explanation, right? So you must join in the Telegram group for freely attend the quiz in botany in every Sunday. So thank you.